I think being a mother is the best thing in the world, and that unending love that you have for your mother and for your child is universal.
The love for a child is universal and powerful. It can even cause you to give up other things you thought were a priority in your life. It's what led Katie Holmes to divorce her husband, Tom Cruise. They were once deeply in love, and they had a daughter named Suri. Tom was a devoted member of the Church of Scientology. Katie left and took Suri before she could be indoctrinated. He hasn't seen her since. Keep watching for more on Tom Cruise's relationship with his daughter Suri. Tom also had an absent father. Abuse often goes in cycles. Tom Cruise didn't have a positive fatherly role model to look up to. His father was physically abusive. One day, his world changed. He said,
I got a call from my grandmother because I hadn't seen my father really in about almost 10 years. And just saying that your father's dying. He's in the hospital and he's going to die. And would you like to see him?
Tom said yes and flew out with his sisters. His father agreed to see them on one condition: no discussing the past. They had one final moment together as his father faded away from cancer. None of this excuses anything Tom has done, but it bears in mind remembering that hurt people hurt people. It's common to unconsciously repeat cycles of abandonment from parents when becoming a parent. How the rift between Tom and Suri began. Suri was born April 18, 2006. Her parents, Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise, got married a year later. A lavish ceremony was held in an Italian castle. Attendees included a number of high-profile Scientologists, including church leader David Miscavige. Katie was involved in the cult-like church at first, but her interest cooled over the next 6 years. The same thing had also happened with Tom's previous wife, Nicole Kidman. Their children, Isabella and Connor, are still a major part of the Church of Scientology. They ended up living with Tom, but Nicole left and was labeled a suppressive person, or SP. That meant she was hostile to the Church of Scientology. Katie began to worry about what the church's teachings would do to Suri. Indoctrination into Scientology begins at age 6, so she left Tom in 2012, around Suri's 6th birthday. Tom admitted the divorce was unexpected. However, it was mostly uneventful, with he and Katie reaching a settlement within 11 days. She was also granted sole custody of Suri, and Tom was required to pay $400,000 a year in child support. This would have been automatic grounds for disconnection from the church in almost any other case. Tom's celebrity status within the church gave him the option to remain with Suri. The question is whether he took that opportunity. Missing major moments. Celebrities' lives are always under a microscope. Even the smallest actions can bring back old allegations. Tom's recent actions brought back allegations that he essentially abandoned Suri once she and her mother left the church. He was photographed at a sold-out performance during Taylor Swift's Eras tour at Wembley Stadium in London. He was having a wonderful time in VIP seats, exchanging friendship bracelets and hanging out with NFL star Travis Kelce. What does this have to do with parental abandonment? A major moment in Suri's life was happening exactly at the same time. She was graduating from Fiorello LaGuardia High School of Music and Art and Performing Arts in New York City. Tom was on the other side of the world. It wasn't the last time either. The well-known stuntman was seen speeding on a motorcycle while grabbing the Olympic torch at the Stade de France in Paris this year. Suri was preparing for her freshman year at Carnegie Mellon that day. These events show a different type of parental abandonment. It shows he doesn't always make an effort to show up for her most important life milestones. Suri changed her name. Suri distanced herself not only from her father, but from both of her parents' celebrity status at the graduation. She accepted her award as Siri Noel. The name change was a way to start fresh and create her own identity at college. It's also a tribute to her mother, whose middle name is Noel. There's no confirmation if Suri has gone to court to make the name change official yet. It could have been a one-time tribute. Tony Ortega speaks out. The news has been reporting on the strained relationship between Tom and Suri for some time. The Sun reported they stopped visiting each other around 2013. Tony Ortega is a journalist who covers Scientology and has been leading the charge. The graduation issue led him to create a newsletter where he said that Tom's abandonment of his daughter is, quote, even worse than most people realize. He noted that Tom was not only a celebrity within the church, but perhaps, quote, the most important Scientology member of all time. That meant he could bend the rules and communicate with non-believers. Tony said in his newsletter he believes Tom simply chose not to. He claims he chose the church over his own daughter. As he put it, Tom saw its founder as, quote, the greatest human being who ever lived and believed the technology he proposed was the only thing that could save the planet. The Defamation Lawsuit. It's surprising Tom had nothing to say about the Tony Ortega article. Perhaps he never saw it because it was a smaller email newsletter. He wasn't happy about the articles he did see. An article by In Touch, headlined "Abandoned by Daddy," implied he cut ties with Suri when she was 7 years old after Katie divorced him. He didn't appreciate the implications that he'd chosen the church over his daughter. In September 2013, Tom filed a $50 million defamation lawsuit against the publication. He did acknowledge that he hadn't seen Suri as often since the divorce. He claimed that it was difficult to arrange visits around his and Katie's busy schedule. He admitted he'd only seen her in person for 10 days between June 18th and Thanksgiving of 2012, despite speaking on the phone. He asserted, quote, "Certainly what doesn't change is the love that I have for my daughter and that I didn't abandon her emotionally, physically, or otherwise. And in terms of how I feel about her in terms of the responsibility that I feel towards my child has not waned in any way." The questioning during the deposition was brutal. The other side brought up times he didn't seem to put his daughter first. Why did he find time to fly on a 24-hour trip during a film production to attend a Scientology event, but not find time to visit Suri in New York City? The deposition became public, and Tom settled with Bauer Publishing in December 2013. The publisher said they, quote, "never intended to communicate that Tom Cruise had cut off all ties and abandoned his daughter Suri, and regret if anyone drew that inference from anything they published." How is Suri and Katie's relationship? Suri's relationship with her father is in question, but what about her mother? Katie has always hoped to protect her daughter, not just from the Church of Scientology. She also wants to keep her from the barrage of media coverage that can come from being the child of celebrities. As she put it, quote, "What has been really important for me with my daughter, because she was so visible at a young age, is I really like to protect her. I'm very grateful to be a parent, to be her parent. She's an incredible person." The pair do put a united front up and are often seen in public together. Katie was there at Suri's graduation. They've even worked together. Katie said in an interview with Glamour, quote, "I hope she always does something on my films. I always ask her." Suri enjoys singing and has appeared in the soundtracks of at least 2 of Katie's films, Alone Together and Rare Objects. The latter film marked Katie's directorial debut, and she dedicated it to her daughter. She said, "Suri is now on her way to Carnegie Mellon University. Tom is paying for tuition. It could be a gesture for him to try to become a part of her life again. It could also just be a way for him to fulfill one of the most basic of parenting duties." How lavish is Suri's lifestyle? Suri may have missed out on a relationship with her father, but Katie ensures she hasn't missed out on much of anything else. They have lived in New York City and LA and spent quarantine in a ski cabin. Suri has become a talented skier. They've also managed to spend time giving back through Artolution. One article from the Daily Mail alleged that she became a millionaire after a trust fund from her father kicked in. There were also claims that her mother gave her a trust fund as well. Katie took to Instagram to dispute it. She shared a screenshot of the article and asserted, quote, "completely false. Daily Mail, you can stop making stuff up. Enough." Now it's time to hear from you. Which broken celebrity family do you think is the most tragic? Let us know in the comments section below.